You stand in the grocery aisle, scanning rows of olive oil bottles, extra virgin. The label promises purity, that golden Mediterranean standard you trust. You reach for the familiar brand, the one your family has used for years, and you assume extra virgin means what it says. But here is something that might surprise you. Between 2010 and 2011, researchers at UC Davis tested olive oils sold in California supermarkets using International Olive Council standards and independent sensory panels. 69% of imported oils labeled extra virgin failed to meet the grade, not close calls. Complete failures. The oils were oxidized, showed sensory defects, or were made from damaged fruit. Some tested positive for blending with cheaper refined olive oil. The study named names: major brands, supermarket staples, bottles you have probably purchased dozens of times. Today, I am walking you through the 7 categories of brands that failed testing and explaining exactly why they did not meet the standard. The 3 brands that passed with verified purity, and at the end, 3 tests you can run at home tonight to check what is really in your bottle. No lab equipment needed, just 5 minutes and a few household items. Brand number 7, Pompeian. Pompeian sits on every supermarket shelf in America. The bottle is clear glass, the label is clean, and the brand has been around since 1898. That heritage should mean trust. The UC Davis study found otherwise. 94% of Pompeian samples failed IOC sensory standards. That is the worst failure rate of any brand tested. The problem was not the basic chemistry. Pompeian passed tests for free fatty acids and peroxide levels, the measures of initial freshness. The problem was what happened after. 100% of samples failed a test measuring degradation of the oil's natural compounds. 94% failed markers tied to aging or heat exposure. The sensory panels detected defects that disqualify oil from extra virgin grade under international rules. Here is what that means. Extra virgin is not just a marketing term, it is a legal grade with chemical limits and sensory requirements. The oil must taste fresh, fruity, and have 0 defects. When trained tasters detect off flavors indicating oxidation or poor quality fruit, the oil fails. Oxidation destroys the polyphenols that give real extra virgin olive oil its health benefits. You are not getting a harmful product, but you are not getting the antioxidants or anti-inflammatory compounds you paid for. Bottom line, a century-old brand delivering the highest documented failure rate in the most comprehensive U.S. olive oil study. Cons: 94% sensory failure rate, worst of all brands tested. 100% failed advanced freshness markers for compound degradation. Clear glass bottle accelerates light oxidation during shelf storage. Brand number 6, Star. Star olive oil markets itself as imported from Italy. The label shows rustic Italian imagery, rolling hills, olive groves. That European branding creates an assumption of authenticity. UC Davis testing found mixed results. Star passed all chemical tests. 0 failures for free fatty acids, peroxide values, or aging markers. That is better than most brands, but 11% of samples failed the sensory panel. Trained tasters detected flavor defects that disqualify the oil from extra virgin grade. Here is the part most consumers do not understand. Product of Italy does not mean the olives were grown in Italy. It means the oil was bottled there. The olives could come from Spain, Greece, Tunisia, or a blend of multiple countries. Italy imports millions of liters of bulk olive oil, bottles it, and exports it with Italian branding. The chemistry might pass, but if the sensory quality fails even a portion of the time, you have inconsistent product reaching shelves under the same label. You think you are buying premium Italian oil. You are getting variable quality from undisclosed origins. Bottom line, rustic branding and clean chemistry masking inconsistent sensory quality. Cons: 11% sensory failure rate despite passing all chemical tests. Product of Italy label hides true country of origin for olives. Inconsistent quality batch to batch creates lottery for consumers. Brand number 5, Filippo Berio. Filippo Berio is one of the most recognized olive oil brands in the United States. Wide distribution, mid-tier pricing, and consistent shelf presence make it a default choice for many families. UC Davis found the brand among those that failed IOC extra virgin standards. The failure was sensory, not chemistry. The chemical markers were within acceptable limits, but the sensory panels detected defects indicating the oil had degraded or been made from poor quality fruit. Sensory defects are not always obvious to untrained consumers. You might not notice slight off flavors if you are used to cooking with degraded oil. Your palate adjusts. But those defects mean the oil has lost its beneficial compounds. Real extra virgin olive oil should taste grassy, fruity, peppery, or bitter. Those flavors come from fresh polyphenols. When those compounds break down, the health benefits disappear. Filippo Barrio also does not disclose harvest dates. Olive oil degrades continuously after pressing. Without a harvest date, you have no idea if the oil is 6 months old or 3 years old. Even oil that starts as high-quality extra virgin will fall below grade after 18 to 24 months. You could be buying oil that was extra virgin when bottled, but is no longer by the time it reaches your kitchen. Bottom line, a trusted brand meeting chemical benchmarks but failing the taste standard that defines extra virgin. Cons: failed IOC sensory panel despite passing chemical limits. No harvest date disclosure means no freshness verification. Shelf life degrades quality after months in clear glass packaging. Now let me show you something the industry does not want you to see. The brands I just described failed for quality issues. Oxidation, age-poor fruit. Those are production and supply chain problems. The next group failed for a different reason. And understanding the distinction matters. Brand number 4, Colavita. Colavita markets heavily to American consumers. The brand sponsors cooking shows, appears in recipes, and positions itself as an authentic Italian option. UC Davis testing found Colavita among the imported brands that failed to meet IOC extra virgin sensory standards. The oil showed defects indicating oxidation and degradation. Here is where the industry and the consumer disconnect. To someone who grew up using fresh, high-quality extra virgin olive oil, degraded oil is immediately obvious. But if you grew up using supermarket oil that was always slightly oxidized, you think that is what olive oil tastes like. You have been trained to accept a lower standard as normal. Colavita does not commit fraud. The oil is olive oil. But calling it extra virgin when it fails sensory testing is mislabeling. The grade has a definition. International standards exist for a reason. If the oil does not meet the definition, it should not carry the label. The brand relies on heavy marketing and recipe tie-ins to move product. The UC Davis study proved the name recognition does not guarantee quality. Bottom line, marketing spend masking sensory quality failures documented by independent testing. Cons: failed IOC sensory standards confirmed by 2 accredited panels. Heavy promotional spend creates perception of quality not matched by testing. Consumers pay for branding, not verified extra virgin grade. Brand number 3, Carapelli. Carapelli is another Italian brand with wide US distribution. The packaging is premium, the pricing is mid to high range, and the label emphasizes tradition and quality. UC Davis found Carapelli among the brands that failed extra virgin standards in sensory evaluation. The presence of defects in a mass market brand tells you something about sourcing decisions. They are not paying for premium fruit. They are buying bulk oil, possibly blending from multiple suppliers, and bottling it under a prestige label. The consumer pays for the branding, not the quality. Here is what makes this category particularly instructive. Carapelli is owned by a major food conglomerate. They have the resources to source high-quality fruit and maintain cold chain logistics. The fact that their oil still failed testing suggests cost optimization at the sourcing level. The margins are better when input costs are lower. You never see that reflected on the label. You see heritage, tradition, Italian hills. What you do not see is bulk commodity oil from undisclosed origins failing the grade printed on the bottle. Bottom line, conglomerate ownership with resources to deliver quality but documented failure to meet extra virgin sensory standards. Cons: failed IOC sensory evaluation despite premium positioning and pricing. Owned by large corporation with supply chain resources but still failed testing. Brand equity used to justify pricing not supported by quality verification. Brand number 2, Bertolli. Bertolli is one of the most recognized olive oil names in the world. The brand has been around since 1865. It is sold in over 100 countries. In the United States, it is a supermarket staple. UC Davis testing found Bertolli among the imported brands that failed IOC extra virgin standards. This is significant because Bertolli is not a small producer. It is a global brand with industrial scale production. If any brand has the infrastructure to maintain quality from field to shelf, it should be Bertolli. The failure indicates systemic issues. Industrial producers store oil in large stainless steel tanks with nitrogen blankets to prevent oxidation. If oil is still showing quality degradation at retail, it means either storage protocols are not being followed, the oil is sitting too long before bottling, or the packaging is allowing ingress that degrades the product. Bertolli also does not disclose the origin of its olives. The label says packed in Italy, not produced in Italy. The distinction matters. Packed in Italy means bulk oil imported from elsewhere, blended and bottled. The brand relies on heritage and name recognition to move product. The UC Davis study proved the name does not guarantee quality. Bottom line, global brand with industrial resources documented as failing extra virgin standards in independent US testing. Cons. Failed IOC sensory evaluation despite over 150 years of brand history. No olive origin disclosure for globally sourced and blended product. Name recognition used as quality signal, not supported by testing results. Brand number 1, store brand generics. This category includes Walmart Great Value, Kroger, Safeway Signature Select, and other private label oils. These oils are the cheapest on the shelf. Families buy them to save money. UC Davis testing found many store brand extra virgin olive oils failed IOC standards, often by wider margins than name brands. The reason is straightforward. Store brands are contract manufactured. The retailer does not own a mill or source fruit. They contract with the lowest bidder who can deliver oil meeting minimum legal standards in the country of sale. In the United States, those standards are weaker than IOC standards. A producer can label oil extra virgin if it meets a loose interpretation of USDA standards, even if it would fail IOC testing. Store brand oils are often blends from multiple countries and multiple producers. The oil in a Great Value bottle could be a mix of Spanish, Tunisian, and Greek oil, all purchased on the spot market for the lowest price per liter. That oil is then blended, bottled, and sold with no harvest date, no origin disclosure, and no accountability. The consumer saves $2 per bottle and loses any guarantee of quality. Here's what makes this category particularly problematic. The families most likely to buy store brand oil are also the families most dependent on affordable nutrition. They are not buying olive oil for luxury. They are buying it because they have heard it is healthier than other fats. When that oil fails extra virgin standards, they lose the health benefit without knowing it. They think they are making a smart choice. They are being sold degraded oil under a misleading label with no path to verify what they bought. Bottom line, lowest price point delivering lowest documented quality with zero transparency or accountability. Cons. Contract manufactured blends from undisclosed multi-country origins. Often failed IOC standards by wider margins than branded competitors. No harvest date or origin disclosure leaves buyers with no quality verification. Budget-conscious families seeking health benefits sold degraded oil with no recourse. Here is where the story flips. Every brand I just described operates in a system designed to prioritize cost over quality. The supply chain is long. Olives are harvested in one country, shipped as bulk oil to another, blended, bottled, and distributed across an ocean to sit on a shelf for months before you buy it. By the time the bottle reaches your cart, the oil inside might be 2 years old. It might have been extra virgin when pressed. It is not anymore. But there are producers who control the entire chain. They grow the olives, mill within hours, bottle quickly, and sell fresh. Those brands do not just pass testing, they set the standard. Here are the 3 brands to trust. Trust brand number 3, California Olive Ranch. California Olive Ranch is a domestic producer. The olives are grown in California, milled in California, and bottled in California. UC Davis testing consistently found California Olive Ranch extra virgin olive oil met or exceeded IOC standards for both chemistry and sensory quality. The oil passed free fatty acid limits, peroxide limits, and sensory panel evaluation with 0 defects. Here is why California Olive Ranch works. Domestic production means shorter supply chains. Olives are milled within hours of harvest. The oil is bottled quickly and sold fresh. California also has strict agricultural standards. Producers cannot get away with the corner cutting common in some Mediterranean production regions. The brand discloses harvest dates on the bottle. You can verify the oil is less than 18 months old. They also use dark glass bottles to protect the oil from light oxidation during storage. The price point is higher than store brands but comparable to mid-tier imported oils. You are paying $8 to $12 for a 500 milliliter bottle. That is roughly double the cost of a generic brand, but you are getting oil that actually meets the standard. Pros: consistently passes IOC chemical and sensory testing with 0 defects. Harvest date disclosure ensures freshness verification for every bottle. Dark glass packaging protects against light-induced oxidation during retail storage. Domestic production creates shorter supply chains and traceable single-origin sourcing. Trust brand number 2, Cobram Estate. Cobram Estate is an Australian producer. The brand is available in the United States through online retailers and specialty stores. UC Davis and independent Australian labs have tested Cobram Estate extra virgin olive oil multiple times. It consistently passes IOC extra virgin standards. The oil meets all chemical limits and receives high scores from sensory panels for fresh, fruity, peppery characteristics. Cobram Estate operates its own groves and mills. Vertical integration means they control quality from tree to bottle. The olives are harvested mechanically at night to preserve freshness, milled within 4 hours and stored in temperature-controlled stainless steel tanks under nitrogen blankets to prevent oxidation. The brand lists the harvest date, the crush date, and the best by date on every bottle. That level of transparency is rare in the industry. Most brands hide those details because they know the oil is old. Cobram Estate wants you to know. They also publish third-party lab results on their website. You can verify the free fatty acid levels, peroxide values, and polyphenol content for every batch they produce. The oil is more expensive than California Olive Ranch, typically $12 to $16 per 500 milliliters, but the quality is verifiable and consistent. Pros: vertical integration from grove to bottle ensures quality control at every production stage. Transparent labeling with harvest, crush, and best by dates on every bottle. Third-party laboratory results published online for batch-level verification. Consistently passes IOC chemical and sensory testing across multiple independent evaluations. Trust brand number 1, Kirkland Signature Organic Extra Virgin Olive Oil. This might surprise you. Kirkland Signature is Costco's house brand. It is not a small artisan producer. It is a big box store private label. But here's what makes it different from the store brands I criticized earlier. Costco contracts with established producers who meet strict quality standards. The Kirkland Signature Organic Extra Virgin Olive Oil is sourced from a single producer in Spain and bottled there. Independent testing by Consumer Lab and other organizations has consistently found Kirkland Signature Organic Extra Virgin Olive Oil meets IOC standards. The oil passes chemical limits and sensory evaluation. It is certified organic, which means the olives are grown without synthetic pesticides or fertilizers. Organic certification is not a guarantee of quality, but it does indicate a higher level of oversight and supply chain traceability. Costco also sells this oil at a price point that undercuts almost every other verified brand. A 1-liter bottle costs $10 to $12. That is half the per milliliter cost of California Olive Ranch or Cobram Estate. The trade-off is you need a Costco membership, and you need to buy in slightly larger quantities. But if you use olive oil regularly, buying in bulk from a verified source makes economic sense. Pros: independently tested and verified to meet IOC extra virgin standards across multiple evaluations. Certified organic designation provides higher supply chain traceability and oversight. Sold at the lowest per milliliter cost of any verified extra virgin brand. Single source production in Spain with Costco supply chain quality control. Now here are 3 tests you can run at home tonight to check what is in your bottle. First, the fridge test. Put your olive oil in the refrigerator overnight. Real extra virgin olive oil will solidify or become cloudy within 12 to 24 hours. This happens because the monounsaturated fats and natural waxes crystallize at cold temperatures. If your oil stays completely liquid and clear after a night in the fridge, it has likely been blended with refined olive oil or another oil. This test is not definitive because some high-quality oils also remain partially liquid depending on their fatty acid profile, but it is a useful first screen for obvious problems. Second, the taste test. Pour a small amount of oil into a glass, warm it with your hands and taste it. Real extra virgin olive oil should have a strong, distinct flavor profile. You should taste fruitiness, bitterness, or a peppery bite at the back of your throat. That peppery sensation is caused by oleocanthal, a polyphenol with anti-inflammatory properties. If your oil tastes flat, greasy, or like nothing, it is either heavily refined or severely oxidized. If it tastes musty, stale, or like crayons, it has defects. You should be able to tell the difference once you taste a verified high-quality oil side by side with a supermarket brand that failed testing. Third, the label test. Check for a harvest date. If the bottle does not list when the olives were pressed, it is a red flag. Olive oil degrades continuously after pressing. Without a harvest date, you cannot know if the oil is 6 months old or 3 years old. Look for single origin labeling. Product of Italy is not the same as made in Italy from Italian olives. Look for a dark glass or tin container. Clear plastic bottles allow light to degrade the oil on the shelf before you ever open it. And look for third-party certifications. NUA certified, PDO, or PGI seals indicate the oil has passed independent verification, not just the producer's internal quality control. These 3 tests will not give you lab-grade certainty, but they will help you separate real extra virgin olive oil from degraded or mislabeled oil currently sitting in your pantry. That is the process. We reveal how things actually work, one story at a time. If there is something you would like us to explore next, let us know. Until then, trust the process.